ain't up to nothing, man. I'm about to do this little radio show. I'm gonna do this little show talking about basically in a nutshell, uh, just basically talking to going to talk to the people about recruiting. What's going on with you?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
What up, Tank? But I tell you what, man, you can come by the crib, but give me about because I'm gonna be doing this little show for about probably 45 minutes to an hour. So like come by like 9 o'clock. Hey, what you want to tell the people anything? Because we live now. You want to tell the people in? Hey,
Shout out to Coach AG, he helped a lot of us out. So shout out to Coach AG, and shout out to everybody in Central Florida who grinded, trying to make something happen.
uh, hold on. Did y'all hear that? You heard that, Tank? Y'all might not.
Yeah, I
Hey,
heard that. Who's that?
what he said? Shout out to you. This is Jordan Phillips. A
Oh yeah,
Kuwait
yeah,
defensive
absolutely.
tackle.
Great young man.
A great young man. So yeah, man, we're gonna try to kick some knowledge a little bit about this whole recruiting process. So yeah, man, but you can come through the crib like about 9 o'clock and get them dumbbells because you like working out. So we'll holler at you in a few.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And shout out to Tennessee. That this what a young man is committed to. All right, man. So all right, boy, we'll top it up later. All right, boy, peace. Yeah, sorry about that, people. One of the kids, my main dog, little Jordan. What's up, Tank? You doing okay today, bro?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing all right.
Good, man. Well, this show came about because a lot of parents, it's towards the end of the season. A lot of parents are concerned, and just talking about the whole recruitment process and everything. At the end of the show, we're gonna have questions that people submitted. We're gonna answer the questions that they have, but you know. Some of the stuff we'll probably even talk about ahead of time. That's what the topics were kind of made up. So, but, this is real talk today. So, if you want to ask questions, feel free, to ask questions and you can comment and we'll definitely answer all questions at the end of the show. So, but we're gonna talk about first and foremost. Everybody talks about recruiting, but I mean, we really don't have to have. There's not no real big conversation on this. I mean, we got to make sure that parents understand. Like one of the things that frustrates me about parents is you're talking about your kid not getting recruited, and he doesn't have over a 2.7, 2.8 GPA. Now, the NCAA is going to make it. They just made a request that going forward that they do rid of the standardized testing for the kids. So it's going to be imperative that your score, like your grades, are up to par. And hopefully more parents will make sure that because honestly, in a coach's defense, if your kid doesn't have grades, the NCAA has certain mandatories now, that by the end of it, like when the senior year starts, he has to have 10 core classes, a certain amount of English, math, science. And if you don't have those 10 core classes, it don't even matter. Parents, another thing too, uh, your kid should be taking 5 core classes a year, period. So that way, even if he flunks by the end of his junior year, he's taking 15, which automatically includes that 10. So, parents out there with your kids taking 3 PEs and stuff like that, and you think that's boosting your GPA, that has the NCAA doesn't look at that. So, we both were college athletes. You can't get to college without the grades. It's just that simple. The days of letting a kid in just because he can play, them days been over. What you got to say about that thing?
Absolutely, man. It's funny that you said they're trying to push away the standardized testing. It's not something that I brag about. Not I should brag about, but I do. I had a 3.4 core GPA coming out, and I only had to get an 820 on the SAT. And I literally went to the testing center in Christmas Tree, the SAT,
Yeah,
and walked away with an 820, actually 830 something. And my mom was mad. She's like, "Oh, you could do better." I was like, "Mom, I already did what I had to do in the classroom.
that part.
I don't care about the SAT." She's like, "I want to know what you can do for real if you really try."
Yeah,
But at the end of the day, I did what I had to do in the classroom, got that stuff done. And really, man, honestly, it's just a matter of just turning in your work. I mean,
that's it.
if you can't turn in
Especially
your
in that
work,
age. Especially in
these
that age.
kids just turn in the work, and they let these kids turn in the work late. You have like to
Yeah,
the end of the 9 weeks to get this stuff turned in. So
yeah,
if they're failing, that's by choice on both
yeah,
parties, the child and the parent.
yeah. Because parents, I know it's hard, but you're gonna have to do, check their grades, their progress reports, all that kind of stuff. You can check the grades online. The kids, like, I mean, schools don't even get the kids homework on the weekends no more. So I mean, there's really no excuse, So I mean, take away PlayStations, take away whatever. But honestly, if your kid does not have that 2.8 GPA, then really you cannot complain to the coaches. You can't complain to nobody but yourself. So let's make sure going forward, if you're a parent that hears this, make sure that you do that. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right in. Is something that uh, is very essential. Hold on. I think my connection went unstable. Can you hear me, Tank?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, that's my connection. Hold on one second. Yeah, there we go. You back up, Tank?
Yep.
Yeah, that's my connection. It went a little unstable, but I apologize, y'all. But anyway, um, the recruiting process is definitely something that more people need to take. Need to understand. So I'm probably gonna go over it a little bit. Uh, so that parents kind of understand the process. Uh, your freshman year, and believe it or not, a lot of coaches don't understand this process because they still think it's you know how it used to be. Right now, coaches and Tank, you can attest to this because you get calls as well. Coaches, if they know that someone is an influencer in the area, they're going to call that influencer even more so than the high school coach. The reason being is that they know that that influencer doesn't have, there's some influencers that do, but if you're an honest person, they know that you're telling the truth. Like they'd rather deal with you because every high school coach, when they go in there, they're selling a kid. Like when they go to whatever school, you name the school, they're selling someone. It may or may not be your son, but they're selling someone. Whether they 0 and 10, whether they're selling some. There's schools that they don't even talk about certain kids when they come in. They talk about certain kids. I'm fortunate enough that I deal with these schools, so I know like which coaches are talking about kids, which coaches aren't. And so you as a parent, you need to figure out what school you're going to take your kid. But there's other things we'll talk about later. But freshman and sophomore year, I see parents panicking. That really like those years really don't matter. If he's getting off great, if he's not, then he still has time. The junior year is the most important year if you're talking about your kid going to, a Power 5 university. You're talking about those kind of offers. Unless he just had a dynamic sophomore year, it's going to be, his junior year is important, and senior year is always important. You still have to show that that you were that guy. But if you're really that guy after your junior year, your recruitment is pretty much over with. Senior year, that's a lot of the schools like your FAMU's and your FCS schools. They're honing in on your senior year, and that kind of is what it is. Parents get upset, because everybody thinks that their son is Georgia, Florida material. Um, it doesn't work like that. I get it. It doesn't matter. We went to camp and we saw kids. Matter of fact, prime example. You were at Clemson. You know, Assad ate Clemson up. I mean, the coach pulled him to the side, told him he's the best route runner he's seen, blah blah blah. But at the time, Assad was 5'8", 5'9", 5'10". He would need to get to 6 foot. If he get to 6 foot, 6'1", guess what? Clemson gonna change their look on him. That's just how it works. And and people got to understand, because I understand the process. I understand just like when coaches don't promote kids their junior year, you're basically killing his scholarship if he's an elite player. That's why
Yeah.
you'll see kids who are extremely talented. They have to go to a smaller school because for whatever reason that coach did not promote them. You promoting a senior means nothing because whatever he has, he has. But those guys that are juniors, that is the most important year. You got anything
Also,
you want to add on that?
if I can interject as well, along with the height and coach promotion, coach put the kids in the wrong position in the
Oh yeah,
recruiting aspect of it. Like, this kid is viewed as a safety style kid. They're like, this kid could probably play box safety or play safety for us, but you got him playing defensive end,
right,
linebacker. They had no film at the position. When he shows up to camps, he shows up telling the coaches about the position that the high school coach put him in instead of trying out working
correct.
drills at the position that the school views him as, and that hurts their recruiting a lot as well.
We see it happen all the time in Central Florida. I saw it, I mean, I saw it at a school that went to the state championship. Uh, they had a kid at safety who was dynamic, was all state. They had another kid that was what DN or linebacker, and they should have
Linebacker.
been reversed. They should have
Yep.
been reversed because the kid now that was at safety is now playing linebacker, and the kid that was linebacker is now playing safety. So I mean, those are the things that we like. And parents, one thing too that we want to make sure, I see a lot of parents complaining about coaches, but if your kid could have 20 sacks, but if he's 6'1", 185 pounds, defensive end, no Power Five school is going to recruit that because he's not going to be able to do that on the next level. So parents, you got to do a better job of, hey, my kid, this ain't gonna work for my kid. If it just isn't. So you got to know if you're 6'1", 185 and you play defensive end, you might want to move to linebacker. You might want to learn to get your hand out the dirt. If you're 6'4", if you're 6'3" and up, yeah, you can play DN. But if you're 6'2" and under, you can't play DN and expect to go to a major Power Five school. You know, it's just the way it works. Uh, but one of the things about recruitment is people need to be a little bit more honest in their recruitment assessment, and it does not mean that your kid can't play. There's a lot of talented guys that go FCS, a lot of talented guys go D2. Believe it or not, it's all about the measurables. It really is. There's a few guys that squeak in that don't have the measurables, but they are very far and few between. And they had to have like special seasons throughout. Because I tell everybody, my boy from Seminole, him, Joe Lyles.
Joshua Lyles. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey man, hey man, hey, that dude was monster, but his height didn't match up. Just like what's my boy from Popka, Massey?
Massey.
Man, please, man, ain't nobody in Central Florida ever had the career Massey had. Like the man had like 1,500 yards a season from his freshman year all the way through his senior year, running back kicks. If you add kicks and all that, he probably had more than that. But he's at Wayne State killing it, a D2 school, but he's very talented, So I think that, parents need to, be parents should want their kids to be successful. And if D2 is where they can be successful at, they should embrace that. Or, but we still have parents that are still thinking that their kids are going to go to Florida, Florida State, South Florida. I see the text, I see the tweets. Oh, your schools aren't paying attention to these guys, which is crazy because they're not going to be, guys that, they're looking at. So I think I don't know if that's me. That might be Tank there.
That's my
Um,
that was
okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah, but so
my
so I kind of got on that subject, but recruiting measurables are important. I
switch.
mean, every school has the recruiting measurables that, like, if you go to a school, they have every school knows what they want their players to look like. I literally I've been to schools and I've seen their hey, they have a chart on the wall. My wide receivers have to be this tall, and if they're 6'2", then they have to run this speed, or have to do this. My defensive tackles need to be this, and if they then their shuttle needs to be this. And they kind of go by their recruiting measurables, and that might explain why a lot of schools aren't doing that well. To be honest, Alabama is a little different because they can get the best of the best. Um, but recruiting measurables right now is high. These schools, these coaches get for every 5-star they get bonuses. That's why and we'll talk about that later. That's why the camps and and all like that is very important if you're trying to really help your kid, but get to a certain level. That's why the 40s and the training is important. But as well as I do, because prime example, we have a great example. Um, Tyler Davis was player of the year,
Eight
like
eight. Yep.
8-8 player of the year. Uh, he was considered what, a 4-star kid?
4 star. He was a good
Yeah,
4 star.
yeah. Now he came in as was led the country as a freshman, like led all freshmen in sacks from a defensive tackle position. Um, was first team defensive tackle guy. The next year, Clemson brings in Brian Breesy, who's a 5-star kid who has the look, the size, the feel. Now, if you look at the film, it's no question that Tyler is more dominant than he is. I mean, it's not even a question. But because he had the 5-star like attached to him, now all of a sudden he's the number one guy at Clemson, and we see that. And then this is one reason why some schools, not saying Clemson per se, they're losing. I wasn't trying to say that, but but just like there was a time that you know sore subject for you, but there's a time that Florida State was recruiting stars, where back in the day, Florida State was out on they would go to a game, see a kid balling, offer that kid and bring him in, and that kid would end up being successful at the program. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Because
like example for Florida State on that is you know, you got Buster Davises. You know,
mhm,
Buster Davis out of Daytona Mainland,
yep,
he was a dog. You know, and he played with the best of them, 5-star, 4 stars, whatever. And Buster was a dog at Florida State, but they don't, you know, schools aren't doing that no more.
mm-mm,
They're not bringing in the dog football players, the
mm-mm,
playmakers, the guys who are
no,
difference makers, and even the, you know, the personalities in the locker. Buster Davis had one of the biggest personalities in the locker room. You know, he had a presence. Like when Buster talked, people listen. You
correct.
know, you don't got those kind of kids on these teams. So you got the quiet guy. You know, he might be good, or he might just not be a dog. He might have all the measurables, but he ain't no dog.
And one of the things about that, like we talked about that earlier, uh, you know, these kids are a little different. You know, they're definitely a lot more quieter than like our generation. We came in a little bit more. They do a lot of social media talking, and that's part of it. They got their phones. They really aren't interacting because of social media, whereas we were interacting with one another. But one of the biggest things that parents need to realize is your recruiting measurables are very important. I mean, your son could be a dog, but if he's a 5'10", 175-pound kid, guess what? They got 1,000 of them. So so his recruiting is going to be limited. I mean, it's just what it is. So you can't get mad at recruitment because of that. So with that being said, man, let's move on to offers. And I put that in here after we talked about that because I want to talk a little bit. One of the questions that came up, one of the guys I was talking to, he has some questions. I'll bring him at the end. But Tyrone Gibson, we were talking about, uh, they had a kid over at Rockledge. He's the truth. He's like 6'2", corner runner, fofo, sophomore. You know, 185. You know that no matter what, that's everybody's recruitment. Everybody wants that guy. Everybody wants the 6'2", 185, the dude run like a deer. Well, unfortunately, you got kids that are, on his own teammates that are getting jealous because he's getting offers. And what they don't understand is when you get offers, and it kind of hurt like right now because the springtime was when they would come see kids with offers and then they would actually get an opportunity to see you. Tyler Davis got his first big offer from Florida. Kerry Dixon asked me, "Hey man, is there anybody that I need to look at?" I said, "Man, you need to go to Wakava." We went over to Wakava. He saw Tyler work out. He offered him, and so that's the importance of spring football. Like it will be spring football again this year. So spring football is important if you really are a dog because they'll get an opportunity to see you. And it's not so much the spring game; it's the practices because they can
Yep.
actually come and watch you, and see how you do. But everybody needs to understand everybody's offer cycle is different. Because I get so tired of hearing people talk about I'm better than this kid, I'm better than that kid, this kid and this kid and that. At the end of the day, prime example, I hear kids always talking about how Peyton Kirkland's not good. But guess what? Peyton Kirkland is 6'7", 350 pounds. He ain't got to be good. Like so, it don't matter. Like how you feel about him playing don't matter because as a coach, I like number one. Who's to say that he's getting that kind of coaching in high school? Not to say anything. I know he is because I rock with DP, so I don't want nobody to try to say that. But what I'm
Yeah,
saying is
Coach
that's how
Sitter.
coach.
Shout out to
That's how
Coach Sitter.
yeah. Everybody knows he rocks. But I'm saying college coaches they look at that. They're looking for certain prototypes, and so it just like someone had the audacity, bro. I swear to tell me that their son was better than Cedric Baxter. And I was like,
Who? I
I
ain't
ain't
gonna
gonna
say
say no
who. I ain't
names
gonna
because
ask.
I ain't gonna say no names because it man
Hey, that
like
was just a natural reaction to say
bruh,
who,
and
man.
they was dead serious, just like one of the so-called influencers in Central Florida said that Cedric Baxter isn't that good, you know, just because he don't train with him. But it's ridiculous because it don't take a
What they
rocket
say, live on
scientist.
a house of lies.
Right. It don't take a rocket scientist to look at Sid Baxter and know that and just look at this film one time. And you
Well, hey, you know, at the end of the day, you know, call the coaches at Winter Park, call the coaches at Jones High School, you know, call those coaches and ask them how good that kid is. You there, AG? I think you froze up. All right, y'all. So AG, we're having technical difficulties. Had to just reach out to him. Pretty much, like he was saying, people talk about, certain things, believe that their kid is better than this kid, or that their kid deserves certain things. But at the end of the day, it comes down to measurables. It comes to ability. It comes to production. Um, and it comes down to, network. Who do you know? So basically, when you're trying to get these offers, those are some key ingredients to getting those things. Um, Also, it's a process in the beginning to getting started with the exposure. Get your kid into these camps, fill out those questionnaires, print out questionnaires off the websites of schools. I would say get an honest evaluation of your child. Based off their
Yo, Tank. Yo, hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we might have some technical difficulties, kicked in, so I apologize to anybody out there, So I had to come on my phone because my computer messed up on me. But we were just talking a little bit about offers, man. So I want to definitely get into, like it was kind of messed up because we was getting into the real crust of everything.
Yeah,
Uh,
you was talking about somebody comparing their kid to Cedric Baxter.
oh yeah, and I'm just like as someone who's been out there, said is elite. And at some point, when kids are getting offers from these schools, you have to understand that they may not have it, but for said, he's producing this year like tremendously. So when I hear people say that he's not that good, I'm looking at them like, man, you just hate, you know, but
Absolutely.
it wouldn't matter. Let's say he wasn't that good. Let's say said wasn't having a great season and all that other stuff. He's still a 6'2", 200-pound running back that runs 4.38, 4.44. Everybody wants that. Like just like I told Gibby, he was Jaden Gibson. He was all panicky because he didn't have offers and blah blah blah. And I kept telling him, look, son, you're a unicorn. Everybody wants a 6'6" guy that runs like a 5'8" guy. That's what everybody wants. Nobody, so those are things that you can't teach those kind of things. So those are things that we got to get people to understand that offers aren't necessarily about all the stuff you want to make it about. So hold on 1 second. I think my computer's up. Hold on. A little more control. I have to take one of myself off. I want to see the doubles. Hold on. Let me take one of myself off and add the other one. See, I don't know which one. This is my phone. So let me take this one off. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, thank you. This is me coming in. Yeah, this guy. All right. So that's gonna be the echo. So let me turn this. All right. So now we talking. Let me get back to the headsets. Now can you hear me, Tank?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, cool. So, all right, we back at it now. So, sorry about that. I had some technical difficulties. My son probably was playing with the PlayStation, uh, knowing this dude. That hopefully you don't went dark on me, Tank. You still here?
Y'all still there?
All right, cool. So, anyway, you know, one of the things that we talked about offers, and so people need to get. But so people asked about offers, and so what can you do to get offers? You need to be able to go to exposure camps in 7v7, but I want to make sure that we clarify this because this is the biggest confusion right now. Just going to any camp is not going to get you exposure. If you go to a camp, is rivals there, is 247 there, is XOS there. If that's far as the local camps, every college camp is great. You go to whatever college camp is great because the coaches are putting their eyes on you. Also, what's my boy them? Billy Tucker them. That camp is probably the most like you want to make sure if you can get in that ESPN camp, uh, if nothing else, because what people don't realize, the most important thing about those camps, they just want to get your height and weight. That's what they're really looking for. Like, because we've all been to camps, you've done it too, where they make a dude the MVP, and he didn't do nothing. You know, I went to a camp, you know, and I went to a camp and I saw a kid literally he won MVP as a quarterbacks, right? Dude won MVP and didn't complete one pass. Now he was on my 7-on-7 team. I say he won. End up. Now don't get me wrong. He ended up winning the Elite 11. His name was Asante Willard, but he literally did not complete one pass that day at West Orange High School. But they gave him MVP because like I used to do this stuff. A lot of those camps they already know who they're giving the MVP to before you get there. So don't get your panties in a bunch about it. Hey, you're going to get your height and weight because what's the name of Billy Tucker's company? I can't think of it right now. his company is one of the places that everybody uses. What is the name? I'll think of it in a minute. But you want to go to those either exos, because a lot of schools use exos. You want to make sure that Rivals and 247 are there, and you want to make sure Billy's Camp, which I cannot think of it to save my life. Uh, Matter of fact, they're the ones. Yeah, Billy. What is the name? Something 3 steps or something like that. A
Are you
three
talking
step
about
camp.
that big three or 3-on-3?
That's 3 step camp. That's what it's called. Now on
Okay.
on three is gonna on three is a new, and they also are like they're gonna be competing against Rivals and 247. Like a lot of their writers are from there. So matter of fact, real like some good writers and
Chad
all that.
Simmons.
Yep. So you want to make sure that you got those. Chad is going to come down and do. I'm going to have an event where I'm going to invite the top kids, and Chad's going to come down and get all the interviews and stuff like that. Uh, but 7-on-7, it's the new thing. It's like AAU basketball, and it's just like AAU basketball. You have 400 teams playing AAU basketball, but college is only looking at 10. Like like you have all these teams around here, AAU basketball, but college is looking at each one, teach one. Like
Yeah.
it's just what it is. Like you can have all these teams, in Texas, but college is looking at certain teams. So you need to make sure that when you go to a 7-on-7, if you're going like and you thinking
What
that
up,
you're getting
Sad?
off, yeah, we saw them already. If you think you're just getting offers because you go to 7-on-7, it don't work like that. Like, you got a lot of guys that look. I've been over 7-on-7 for years. If your kid, is just playing on a 7-on-7 team, that does not guarantee him exposure. If you're playing on 7-on-7, it should be because you're worried about getting development. And quite frankly, if you're not practicing 3 days a week, then how's your kid getting development? You're better off letting them run track, lift weights, do stuff like that. So hopefully the guys in Central Florida will start. If you're gonna be on a 7-on-7 team, whatever team, practice. You got a lot of guys trying to make their name off of kids with 7-on-7. That's the new thing now. I mean, everybody has a 7-on-7 team, but they don't have no connection with coaches. And I had a dude with a 7-on-7 team. Literally, I set up a camp at FAU. I set it up. I had 100 kids from Central Florida go there. About 15 kids got offers. This dude goes on social media and says, "You played 7-on-7 with us last week, and now you got an offer from FAU." Like he did something. And I was just like, dude, I mean, dude's a coach at out in Celebration. So but which he did a great job coaching uh 2 weeks ago against West Orange. But dudes are just so thirsty, bro. The thirst is real. Like, you're not like no one even knows who you are, you know, and it's just being real, but let's not try to take credit. Like, I mean, it's been so many people around here because I told you it's gonna be real talk. It's been so many dudes around here to take credit for offers of kids have gotten. Like, no, like I'm like literally will take credit, knowing that the coach don't even know who they are. And will tell a kid not to talk to me because they don't because they don't want I guess they're scared. I'm gonna tell the kid the truth, but I don't tell, like, I promote all y'all kids. If you ever come to any event, and even kids who, if I just know you, I'm gonna put you on my spreadsheet and send it out to college coaches. I just send the
Well, you
spreadsheet
know,
out to coaches. They choose who they want to choose. They gonna call
well,
and
you know
ask me
my,
the truth.
my biggest issue with those things is who's trying to take credit for the offers and who did this and that. At the end of the day, like, if we're all in this for the community of Central Florida, and we're all in this for the growth of Central Florida talent, because I mean, at the end of the day, Miami, they kicking our tail as far as how they handling
Oh,
business down
Tampa
there.
too. Tampa too.
Tampa.
Yeah.
So
Even
the biggest
Tallahassee.
issue is we got a bunch of people, me people around in the city, and it's really got to be a we thing. Like, who cares who got the offer? If we know who the main person is at the end of the day, but if you can sneak an offer in or get this kid an offer or use a connection, or we all put our efforts and resources in to make sure that we're getting these kids offers, it just makes Central Florida look better overall. And
What I
then
tell
more
what I
kids, more kids that you work with get offers because
what I
they'll
tell
keep coming
kids
back to give them.
what I tell kids all the time, I'm not getting you no offer. I'm just exposing you. I'm just telling. All I'm doing is giving, like, bruh, for every kid that gets an offer, there's kids that like Bo Masco. I've promoted Bo. He had a rough week last week, but up until that point, Bo was really balling. Uh, I promoted Bo. I think he's going to be dynamic. He still is not getting offers. It's just what it is. Braden Marshall, I promote him because I've known him since he was a kid. I don't just because you play on somebody 7 on 7 or that don't mean nothing to me. You train with somebody, that means nothing to me. Anybody telling you, like you said, if if anybody can help my son get an offer, by all means, please do. And the Waseems,
Hey,
thank
help my
right.
son.
We
Help him.
thank you. We thank you.
Thank
I
you.
mean,
Even if I
we
don't
thank
like
you.
you, thank you.
Right,
Appreciate
right.
it. It's
I
for my
mean,
son.
right, right. It's not even because it should be about the kids. I would hope that every last one of the guys that are in youth sports in Central Florida is about the kids. I would hope that, like, hopefully it isn't about, like, like you heard me say it. I'll say it once again. For whatever reason, I don't like all these guys that hate on me. I still tell people to come to their camps. I still tell people to
Go to
go
a
do what
training
they do.
sessions.
Right. But these same guys that tell people don't go on the bus trip. Like you were on the bus with me. Dude was
No,
literally
I was actually upset. You know I made that video. We went to Kennesaw. Um, and at matter of fact, we went to two satellite camps.
mm,
We went to the one in Tallahassee, and when I tell you I saw Arizona State, USC, Minnesota, I literally shook PJ Fleck hand. Like, I'm like, "What's up, PJ Fleck? How you doing, man?" He's like, "Oh, what's up, Aaron? How you doing?" You know, you got these coaches in Tallahassee, and I saw probably two head coaches from Central Florida there with some of their players, and even then, you didn't see a lot of coaches there, but then you got AGYC, setting up to make sure you bring in people's kids to this event because Eddie Kelly went. A lot of people got to see who Eddie Kelly was up close and personal. They've been to the schools, they seen things, but Eddie was out there tearing it up at tight end. I mean, he didn't even do the defensive line drills. He did the tight end stuff, but people still was like, "Dang, this kid athletic! Like he out here mossing people,
well,
burning people."
if we would if Eddie would have listened to me, which he finally did, and went to DN, Eddie would have blew up before now. Because
Yeah.
Eddie, so Eddie, I'm very proud of him. I'm glad for him. Uh, Eddie did his thing. He's been producing. But the thing about those camps is they put Eddie on in their database. So he was a kid they were going to look at. So as Eddie performed, guess what? They end up offering Eddie. And Eddie is doing his thing, and I'm very proud of him. Great kid, one of the most loyal kids I've ever met. uh, you know, still calls me like, always is Coach AG very positive. So I'm very proud of him. Jordan, I wish Jordan was here because when we were on the bus trip, I told Jordan, I said, man, if Eddie Kelly had been playing defensive end all along, he'd probably be the number one player. And this is before he played it. And Jordan was like, nah, nah. So then we go to FCA camp and, and I think Flakes was hurt. So I told the coach, hey, man, why don't you try Eddie at the end? Man, Eddie made a play on Cedric Baxter that was awesome. And I said it to Jordan, and Jordan was like, dang, coach, you right. I'm like, yeah. And I knew Eddie was gonna blow up
He's
because
a
once
he's a
again,
natural.
yeah, plus once again, Eddie's 6'4", 250. So before you start talking about, oh, my son got more sacks than Eddie, my son this, my son that, Eddie has the measurables before we
Hey
even
man,
go
you
there.
ain't even doing Eddie no justice. He's 6'4", 250. But when you walk your tail out there to the stadium and watch the game, he looked like he's 6'7".
Oh yeah, no,
The
Eddie,
kid is
because
larger than life. It's like
eh,
blue chips, like Shaquille O'Neal. The
and he
kid has
go
got
his
size.
his energy too. Like Eddie's energy is infectious. Like he's the
Yeah.
most energetic. His energy is better than anybody in the Central Florida. His energy is really high, and he's going to give you everything he has out there. So I'm very proud of him. So yeah, we covered that, and because we got to get to a couple more other things before we get to the real nitty gritty. Uh, with that being said, this is something as well. Influencers, like parents, you better check out who your influencer is. I'm not going to say any names, but there's influencers out here that college coaches they don't trust them because they're always trying to sell a kid. I learned that honestly at Ocoee. I was at Ocoee High School. My frat brother Tez was at Ocoee. One of the influencers came up and was selling a kid that had never played varsity before. Like kid never played varsity, hadn't threw it down, and went to Orangewood Christian and was going into his senior year. And he was selling it to Ted. He didn't know that we was frat brothers, and I knew him. I pledged him when he was at Texas Southern. You know, we from Texas, Southwest Province, baby. That's where the Kappas pledge hard. We you know we twirl canes. We don't never do that shimmy. Let's make sure we understand that. We have an anti shimmy law. So anyway,
I don't
anyway,
know about
man.
the Florida ones though.
Yeah, them Floridas, man. I don't get it, but it's just what it is. So anyway, man, as soon as he left, he's like, man, Glass, because you know me by that name. He's like, man, you ain't tell me that. Like I say, look, bro, that dude is, hey, man, that's a kid that trained with him. Like, like I don't train with nobody, so I don't care who the coaches get.
Yeah,
I
you're
don't
not
have no,
biased at all.
I'm not biased at all. I mean, so be careful because a lot of times, you know, you even heard the story where a parent is like, well, he was talking to me while my kid was training. He called your kid, and the trainer got on the phone talking. I talked as soon as he was
Absolutely.
over with. I got the phone call like, man, who is this character? What is wrong with him? Because the dude he talking to, I've known for years. So I don't, it's not something to really, so be careful who you have, but you need to have an influencer who's truly trying to help your kid. If you have a kid that really is elite, but you got to be honest about that because they do miss on kids that are elite because they can't see everybody. And unfortunately, there's kids like the Eddie Kelly for whatever reason. Eddie's been elite. This ain't he just, but for whatever reason, he was not. He was overlooked when he was at his other school, which I mean, for whatever reason,
I
and a
mean,
lot of
honestly,
it,
I didn't learn about him till this summer when I met him on the bus tour.
yeah, and a lot of it was on Eddie. Like I tell people, like, because people want to always, bash Will, but some of it was Eddie. And like your point, kids was playing out of position. They were trying to talk him into another position. He fell in love with tight end, but there was other things going on over there. But sometimes the mix between coaches and players just don't mix. But ultimately, like I tell people, it should be about the kids. Like I don't care, at the end of the day, they're young. They're gonna make mistakes. They're gonna do some dumb stuff. We did it too. Like, that's just the way it is. So,
I'll speak on myself as an influencer. To just to go off piggyback of what you're saying is, I work with linemen. My thing is linemen in Central Florida. I could care less about wide receivers, DBs, running. I don't
right.
really care about any of that. Can I train it? Yeah, but that's not my niche. My niche is lineman. And I really don't care what high school you go to. You could be playing for a coach and he has you out of position. My loyalty is not to that high school. My loyalty is to that athlete and the parent that has trusted me with that kid and trust me with their advice. I'm a point them in the best direction for their child. You know, um, Kids come to Orlando, or you live in Orlando and you live in one area and you're stuck to some coaches that, based just because
Hold
what you
on.
can
For you,
afford or where
since
you
you're gonna
can
go there,
live.
let me change this down here. We go ahead. Now you can go ahead. We're gonna talk about
Um,
coaches there.
you based off of where you live, you're stuck to, a certain group of coaches per Orange County and per FHSAA.
No, it's not
You know,
FHSA. Let's make sure we stop that. This is Orange County's. FHSA has said that they don't care where you go to school.
okay, okay, I'll take
FHSA has said, hey, you can live in Seminole County, if you live in Seminole County, want to drive to Miami every day and take your kid, they cool with it. This is
okay.
Orange County that, by the way, doesn't the same county that won't let rivals in 247 come to your kid's game because they're saying they're making money, which kills the
But they're
kids.
making money off the
Right,
kids
but you're making money off the kids because we paying that $8 for tickets, you know,
and parking
and
lots.
parking for $5. But you can't let them come and promote a kid that has an opportunity to go off to college. But that's another story. But go ahead.
But yeah, so I mean, you're limited to basically where you live. You stuck to this coach, and say your son and that coach don't mix. Say even
It
not even
happens.
just the coach, the scheme. The
Right.
scheme is built around. for linemen, which for me, I witness this all the time. It's a lot of abuse for the linemen around here. Is that the schemes fit the skill guys. The scheme fits the guys that are. They're like, oh, this kid gonna make plays, and oh, we're gonna make sure this kid's the star of the defense, and the defense kid just got to sit there and hold up blocks or do this and that for the kid. And then colleges, they come and look at the tape. They like, this kid ain't no
Right.
playmaker. This
Right.
kid can't do anything. And then parents are like, oh, you listen to the coaches and this. Listen, man, you gotta stop listening to these people. For them, it's about winning. Like, for them, they just want to win games. For them, they want to say, hey, I'm the best defensive coordinator in the area. You see what I did. You seen the shutout. But your son is not benefiting from any of that fruit. I ain't gonna go too much because I know you had, a list of things that you wanted to
No,
talk
go ahead. No,
about.
take your time, man. Hey,
Um,
this is real. This is real talk. So take your time. I ain't got nothing to do today.
um, so it's just one of those things that it's like, as a coach, and me have been a coach in Orange County. These coaches, I've sat in meetings where coaches like, these parents are gonna come to us, they're gonna approach us about, why their kid isn't playing and why this is happening. We just got to pull up all the data of what the kid did all week and try to look at all the wrongs to make us right about the decisions that we made instead of just being straight up like, listen, man, I see your son, I don't like how he hustled. I don't like how he don't use any of the technique that I taught him. And I'm not
Right.
putting them in the game. I
That
used to
part.
be straight up like that with parents, but I watch other coaches give parents the run around and just not
Yeah,
man
that
enough to
don't
say what
that
they
doesn't
have to
work.
say.
That doesn't work.
um
That's the worst thing you can do. Like as a and I'll speak on a parent's behalf on that. But the worst thing a coach can do to a parent is blow smoke up their behind. It's just like, look, you know, are there some unrealistic parents? Yes. And if you feel they're unrealistic, you need to tell them that from the start. Hey man, your son ain't one of my top two or three guys. Period. But if you're telling me a wide receiver, I mean, prime example. Most schools have two, maybe three wide receivers that actually play. If that kid is in the top two wide receivers, he should be getting balls thrown his way. And you can't justify that. You can't. If you're telling me in high school he's one of the top running backs and you got two, he should be getting some balls. Period. We all
well, I
know this.
got two examples of kids that I want to talk about. Well, actually three, but I'm gonna go in. Uh as far as coaches just kind of screwing kids over. The first one is, you had a kid, Liston Barber, at
Oh
Ocoee
yeah,
High School.
yeah, he was mean.
um Liston Barber, his sophomore year, because this was a 2-year process of just ruining this kid's career.
Right,
Listen, Barber, his sophomore year, this Joker had 15 sacks as a sophomore off the edge. New coach comes in, brings in the defense, and what's crazy is the defense actually fits Liston, but they didn't want Liston to play the edge rush position. They put some kids that had no measurables, no anything at the
right.
position. They moved Liston to, oh, he a Mike linebacker. How you gonna tell me the kid's a Mike linebacker when he had 15 sacks? Well, y'all went
Yeah,
2-8 last year. What does that have to do with what the kid did? You see the tape. He's
right.
an edge rusher. He sacked some of the top quarterbacks in the area.
With some
15
of the
sacks.
with some good lines.
Yeah, with like Stone Forsythe.
Right.
Had 4 sacks against Stone Forsythe and sacked Woody Barrett 4 times. You know, the kid was a dog. They moved him to Mike linebacker, which that was his junior year, which you talk about,
The
when
important
kids
year.
need the biggest
Right.
process of their recruiting. They
Correct.
move him to Mike linebacker his junior year. He's trying to learn Mike linebacker. But he's a dog, so he learned it and he was gritty with it. The next, we're going back into the spring. The kid made a bad decision, man. He cussed out the receptionist at the school because she wouldn't let him leave early because he had early release. Gave the lady middle finger. And some things are just in-house in programs. You punish the kid, you leave it at that. But the coach went and, oh, this is what he did when the college scouts come. This is what he did. He did this and he did that. And like, why are you doing this to this kid? Then they ended up putting him at the buck position, and this kid breaks the state record with 22 TFLs in one game. 22
Yeah.
TFLs and finished
Yep.
the season with 16 sacks and 44 TFLs for the year and got 7A defensive player. And the biggest offer he got was Arkansas Pine Bluff or whatever it was.
Hmm.
And it was like a D3 school.
Oh,
Um,
and for the record, it was it's D1 AA, but for the record,
no, no,
he
he didn't
was
get that one. I should say no, Oklahoma Northeast or West,
okay.
whatever that was.
You're talking about, and that's the NAIA school. But the
Yeah, he
biggest
got
thing about
NIA.
the biggest thing about him is he had all the measurables. Let's make sure that
Yeah, he was
everyone
six
understands that.
three, 215, and can run.
Yeah, he had all the measurables. Yeah,
And and they completely screwed that kid's recruiting up. You know, thankful for Cameron Duke. When I went to Edgewater, I talked to Cameron. Cameron was like, "Nah, that ain't right, man. We got to get this kid right." And Cameron made some phone calls, and we got him a preferred walk on at UCF. And now he's on full ride scholarship at Southern. He's at an HBCU, but
yeah. And by the way,
listen,
for
like
those who
that.
don't know, Liston Barber's a white kid. So just for those who don't know,
Yeah, he's white, but he
he's a
got
good
some
kid.
sauce about him.
Yeah, he got a little
But
sauce.
he's starting at Southern, and he had a rough career, but as an influencer, that's what I was saying. As an influencer and coach, I never quit on Listen. I try to make sure that I helped him as much as I could. Another prime example, your son, for instance, something that I've witnessed. Again, this is another 2-year process of ongoing and watching. This ain't something that I'm just sitting here coming in like looking at it because he's at West Orange. It's
Right.
something I've witnessed, when he was at Wekiva, to West Orange. He's at Wekiva. I watch a Dr. Phillips game where they lose the game to Dr. Phillips, and they threw your son one ball the whole game. Meanwhile, he just beat Lakeland, or it was somebody he had just
Nah,
beat
nah,
the week
nah,
before with 100.
actually, nah, they lost to Koi, but he had 130 yards. And he scored with 10 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the third quarter. Didn't see the ball again. And then, so I mean, yeah, I get it.
No, remember that DP game, me, you, and Shep, we was
Oh
at.
yeah, yeah. No, I remember
He threw the ball
the
one
next week.
time.
Next week, the DP was in straight cover two with the safety 20 yards off, and they threw it to him one time.
They
Yeah,
threw the ball one time. So,
yeah,
it's things that, you see, but Assad ended up still having a season where, the scouts seen enough, the
right.
college recruiters, they were like, hey, we want to offer this kid, he got some skill. But they came to you with question marks saying, hey, listen, you know, we need to see some more. These are things that we're expecting to see and this and that. His head coach gets fired. Assad is in a situation where he needs, to be in a stable situation. And it's his junior year. You have, as a father, have to make a crucial decision on what needs to happen with your son. And,
Yeah,
West
man.
Orange just West
I
Orange
mean,
just ended up being.
my thing is, the biggest thing is even in his situation, like, uh, my thing is, uh, the biggest thing that coaches to me as a coach, if you see a kid has potential, and we'll get, and I only cut you off because we might as well go to the thing, because this is what we probably need to get into real quick. As a coach, you should be able to notice kids who have potential or kids who have. You don't even have to notice because hell, the colleges will tell you which kids they're looking at. So if I have a kid as a coach that kids are looking at, I'm going to make sure that we put you in a situation to help you with your recruitment. Like whether it's a D2 school, Power Five, NAIA, I'm going to put you in a situation. One of the things that I see with coaches, and we're going to talk about, and I'm going to ask you in just a second, because I'm going to ask, I'm going to go from a parent's perspective. But one thing I see about coaches is they don't like, it- they don't really, they're so concerned about winning that they don't really give those kids an opportunity to be recruited. Like to me, I see in Central Florida where dudes are up 48 to nothing and still got their stars in the game. You know, which you automatically on a running clock. So because guess what? Those other kids come to practice too. Them other kids are practice every day. So
Well, we're running our offense, coach.
yeah, yeah, but you can run it with those kids. I mean, so I mean, those kids come to practice every day, and you can't sit there and say because those, quite frankly, let's just be real. I'm gonna be as real can be because I tell you this is real talk. Most of these coaches who are at these schools, they ass wasn't no good in football. Let's just be real.
You
They
see,
were not
Anderson,
dogs.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, like no, right. Most of these coaches. They weren't dogs. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like that's just being honest.
No,
So
that's the honest truth. Probably even sniff a scholarship.
Right. But you would think they would be more concerned about other kids who came to practice, who were doing their thing because my favorite when I coach, my favorite guy is always those kids. Like man, you know how hard it is to go to practice every day, know you're not getting in the game, just be there for your teammates. Those are my favorite kids. So if you can throw them a bone, like when it's now, those because trust me, those kids don't want to get in the game when it's 21-21 anyway. Let's make sure let's make sure that everybody understands that. But when it's 48-0, man, them kids should be in the game having fun. Let like all that kind of stuff. Get those guys. And Anderson says the twos not getting game experience. They have to be developed. Also, the program is only as good as the twos. Exactly. Like
Absolutely.
to me, that's the most important thing because those tools, like I had a coach tell me, well, next year, like when my oldest son was at Apopka, I was told next year he's going to be the man. My thing is, man, please, like next year, why would I, like what about this year? Like
I agree, Philip.
one thing I admire about Chucky Atkins Senior, not Junior. Chucky Atkins, when we played AAU basketball, he would have his twos in the game, and the game would be like a 1-2 point game. And people would be all pissed off. And he said, man, I got to let those guys know what it's like to be in a pressure situation, too. It's not about winning for me. He's like, if they don't develop, then I haven't done my job as a coach. That's coaching, bro. That's
No, they
coaching.
did.
You know, and Phillips talking about they've been padding stats for the kids who don't got offers. No, they don't. They don't never pad the stat for the kids who don't have offers. Like they,
Oh, I thought he said for the kids who do.
yeah, nah. He
Nah.
said, "Do yeah." I mean, if they did that, if you pad stats for a kid who don't have no offers, that's what you should be
Well,
doing.
you know what? I do agree with them in some sense. Like they'll have a kid that doesn't have offers that they like. They feel that he deserves the offers over a kid who does have offers. They'll get him the ball more, trying to build his
But
profile up.
and I have
And
no
that other
problem with
kid
them
that
padding.
has offers still needs to get the plays
No,
on film.
well, it depends. It depends on what the class. We talked about it earlier. If he's a
Yeah.
senior, he has offers. You should not be padding stats for him. He good.
No.
Like we talking about, because at that point, he already your senior year. The beautiful thing, and I left that out earlier. The beautiful thing about your senior year, you'll know what offers you have because they send them in writing. I know kids who had 7, 8 offers and they have none right now. I know kids who had 15 offers. They have none right now. So I get that, but I'm seeing kids who they're committed and they're featuring those kids. They're getting the ball thrown to them 10, 15 times a game. You know, and I'm seeing kids that are like you said, playing out of position. Coaches are coming to watch them play DB, but you got them at wide receiver. I'm seeing it. So why is that? Coaches got to do a better job of that. But this is what we're going to talk about. So we're going to break it down. Uh, that's probably Jordan. Jordan want to grab those weights. So tell Assad, Jordan Phillips, he want to grab those weights. In the garage, Assad. Uh, yeah, but anyway, like we're going to talk about the 5 things that I think no matter what parents and coaches agree with. But I think that the main thing is like they got different types on it. So I'm going to bring up 5 topics, and you tell me from what do you see from coaches on it? Safety, like what are the concerns from a coach? Safety, coaching, making you a better man, future college, or winning. Which like rank them 1 through 5. Like what do you think is the most important to a high school coach? And then we'll do the same with parents. And parents, we're not gonna let you off the hook. We talking about coaches. We're gonna talk about parents in a second too.
Um. So go over it one more time for me because I'm a.
All right, we got 5 areas, and I want you to rank them 1 through 5 for a coach. Is it safety, coaching, making them a better man, future college, or winning? And so, what do you think is number? What do you think a coach is saying is number 1?
Um. There's 2 of them that it could go either way depending on how good the coach is. It's between winning and safety. Number 1. They're 1 and 2. They can flip flop either way. Making them a better man, I'll put that as number 3. Um, the last one is future colleges.
Yeah, like
I
that's
put that the
recruiting, get them
last
in
one.
college. So you're saying coaching is like, so winning would be number one, safety would be number two for most coaches. You're saying then three is either between coaching or making them a better man. Which one do you think coaches care about?
Oh, that about making a better man. I mean, some of these coaches can't even
No,
coach. I mean, I'm not. And there's no disrespect,
no,
but
no. I'm talking
they
about like
they don't
so
worry
you.
about the actual being able to coach skills is not a
So you.
high.
So you're saying that you believe that coaches are more concerned about making them a better man than actually coaching,
Yes,
and I disagree. I think we're on the same way, but I think most coaches are concerned about winning. I think safety is their next important thing. I think then they think about coaching. And I would say there's some coaches that, hell, winning and then coaching and then safety, seriously. And then better man,
I mean you
and then
have them out
and,
there.
and then future college and then better man. I
Well,
think there's a lot
let
of
me
kids
argue
don't worry
my
about
point. Let me argue my point on why better man. Better man is their standing foundation to bench your kid. That's the standing thing that they have to, hey, we're trying to make
their
him a better man. He
attitude, right?
didn't do this today,
Right.
so he's gonna have to sit the. I'm sorry, or yeah, and it'd be lies. It'd be like I said before. I said a
Mm-hmm,
house of lies. Some of that stuff be a house of lies. It's for the program. It's what the program said.
hmm
Um, and they say that where that's number three because it's one of their foundational things in their policy procedures or whatever they have
Right.
for the program that they can sit behind that saying we're trying to make your son a better man and we had to make this decision based off that and we're not seeing this and that's what
Oh,
they
I
really
see.
hide behind.
Oh, I see. That's what you're
So
saying. You're saying. I got it. I got it. Uh, I just think, man, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm glad that you get your concern from a coach. I'm just saying, I think we both can agree that most coaches are really just concerned with winning. It's, like
number
that.
one,
That is
I
their,
mean
that,
that's
and I think that it's, and the reason I brought that up because I think that the next thing is probably uh, parents from a parent's perspective. I think that parents have a different dynamic of how they want that to go. I think if you look at parents, you know, their primary concern is the safety of their child. That's their primary concern. Like I think the next thing for them would probably be coaching. They want to make sure their kid is being coached well. The third thing for them is they're worried about him going to future in college. They really are, from a coach's perspective. Can you get my kid in college? Like, one of the things that no parent wants is, you know, my kid is not getting college opportunities at your school. No parent wants that. Because, and then fourth, I would say for a parent is are you making him a better man? Are you really, helping him to be a better man as far as his character and stuff like that? And last for parents is winning. I don't know. A parent don't give a damn if the team go 1-9 if their kid go off to college. I mean, they really don't. And honestly, like I personally think winning should be the last thing a coach is worried about. One thing, and I know that a lot of people. Now, don't get me wrong. If you live in Texas, Georgia, someplace where they paying you 250, $300,000 a year, you damn right. Winning is important. But in
yeah. I
Florida,
mean,
you getting $300,000 that got to be split up 26 times, like 26 payments. So you're not coaching because you're doing it for the money. So
absolutely.
so that's why I try to tell parents to give coaches a pass because honestly, and if we just being real, there's a lot of incompetent coaches in there's some great coaches out there, but there's some incompetent coaches,
There's a
seriously.
coach in
But
Central Florida. There's no lie. I don't know how many people know this. I'm not gonna name the school because I'm not trying to create no beef, but there's literally a coach in Central Florida where he was a soccer player and he's a head coach. Like never played football. Like football's not even like no background in
and
football.
and, and,
His
and
background is soccer.
And what I would say is, if your background is soccer and you had a passion for football and you really, went out there and you learned, because it's just like, basketball. There's a lot of great basketball coaches that never played the game, but but they put in the work. Like they put in the work, and I don't see a lot of the work going in, you know, with a lot of these programs because I mean, let's just be real. There's only like, let me see, one, two, three. 4, 5, 6 programs in Central Florida that could sustain themselves. That's Apopka. They don't need to ever go out and get nobody. They're gonna always have dogs over there. Osceola, they don't have to go get nobody. They're gonna all have dogs over there. Jones, they don't have to go get nobody. Uh, you know, uh, Seminole, they got that whole community over there. Mainland, they got that whole, and believe it or not, and people gonna get mad when I say this. They man, it's Evans. Evans is like talent wise. Evans is probably more loaded than everybody. If they could just get everybody to stay to like come to buy into football, man, Evans would be a powerhouse.
Just don't get the kids. Just don't leave Evans. Evans is
Right,
fine.
right. I mean, you look at all the kids who was supposed to be at Evans last year that was at Edgewater. If you take those kids and put them at Evans, Evans is the district champ. So those are things but parents, they got to do a better job. Parents, I'm gonna tell you like this: you cannot be beefing with your coaches. You can't, because your coaches, like unfortunately, we had this conversation. The like these coaches are different, man. Like I'm not holding nothing against no damn kid because I got a parent that did some foul stuff to me. I'm not holding that against a kid though. I'm not gonna sit up and not play your kid or not give your kid the ball or not put him on defense because I dislike you. That's crazy. I'm gonna, at the end of the day, because coaches are real quick. They're real quick to say, "Oh, I love the kid." Shit, love shows itself.
Absolutely.
You can't say you love this kid and you ain't put him in the game. You can't say you love this kid and you're not giving him the ball and he's a playmaker. That's like you obviously like put it like this. Cameron Duke can say he loves Sid Baxter because he damn sure gives Sid Baxter the ball. He can say he loves Sid Baxter.
He gives
He
a lot
sure
of
can.
opportunities. All the opportunities he
Yeah,
needs.
yeah. He could definitely say that. Yeah, he could say, "Hey, man, I love this kid." He could definitely say that. You know, so like you can't say you love a kid and then when it's time for him to get opportunities, you ain't providing the opportunities. That's crazy. you know but
Yeah.
parents, we also got to do a better job of like do a better job of getting to know your coaches. Watch how they coach. See, the biggest predictor of future prediction is to watch how they coach. you know I mean, if you look at when Anderson talking about he gave said the ball too many times against them, which now he gave it the right amount of time. He sure did.
Yeah. You
He gave
already
it
know
right.
what
Yeah,
time
he,
it is,
he did.
bro,
He did what
bro.
he's supposed to do. But you know the thing is, you can, you know, as a coach, if I'm a parent, and I'm watching defense, man, please, I'm taking my kid to Rodney Wells. I I see what Rodney Wells does, and I'm taking my kid there. He develops so like it's like some people don't like Duke, but boy, Duke be out there coaching now. You got to give him credit now. He be out there coaching. My boy Lodge, man, please,
No,
Lodge ain't
Lodge
doing
is.
what?
If you had to ask me, sorry, Anderson, but Lodge is probably one of the best coaches in the area.
Oh
Like
no, oh no, but no,
he's
no, ain't no sorry, Anderson, because I'm gonna tell you right now, Elijah Williams, okay, people, hey, Elijah Williams be coaching. Don't get it twisted. I don't
yeah.
watch the man. I don't watch the man make adjustments in the middle of a game. Yeah, I don't watch him. Watch how your coverage is. Hey, check, check, check. Boom, touchdown. I done seen it. Like, cause honestly, I watch Central Florida football, and honestly, bro, the reason we struggle is we don't have the coaching that Miami and Tampa have, and I'm just gonna say it straight out. I'm gonna say it straight out. Everybody can say what they want. That just because your head coach understands football, a lot of these coaches have assistants that don't have a clue as to what the hell is going on in
Man,
football.
position training, the
Right,
position side, just like development is just poor.
right.
Like, and how much time they spend on it. It's I've been on coaching staffs, and I ain't gonna lie, man. Probably the best staff that I've been on was Okoye's, with Ben Bullock, because we at least put at least 15 to 20 minutes in the Indy.
Ben
Um,
Ben is but Ben also was a college coach.
yeah,
So
no,
you
he
look
was a
at
college coach. He's not coming
right,
from high school thought
right.
process.
You look at, man, like, I'm watching coaches out here run the same damn offense they've been running since week one. And the only reason you're gonna get away with it is because the other coaches on the other side don't know what the hell they doing. Because if you run, there's no way you're gonna beat me running the same damn offense. No way. Like, it's like dudes ain't even playing They ain't even playing Madden. That's what it look like out there. It's dudes out there, man. The coverage is a certain way, and they still running the same play, throwing in double, triple
Well,
team coverages, all that kind of stuff.
well, me and you, we sat in stands and watched games where we're like, hey man, why are they in a cover three? Like, where's the safety help? Like,
None,
is are you in man, zero man? Like, oh my gosh, I will never understand. Zero man, no blitz,
none.
and you just out there covering, thinking you just all that because you're
Yeah.
trying to set the edges and trying to cover, trying to play in the box. Like at the end of
Oh,
the day, like you got this corner out here on the island, he getting tore up.
and he gonna get tore up, and so you know it's interesting, like I said, from a parent's perspective, because I can speak for that because I've been a parent with an older son. I'm a parent with this son. Uh, with every coach, there's going to be some things you like and some things you dislike. I personally, you know, as a parent, like to see. My whole thing is, I don't give a damn. Are we getting them in school? As a parent, that's because I understand, especially the African American male, that them going to college, you could set up their family dynamics for years to come. I'm not worried about them going to pros because the reality of it is, all these kids we know, man, look, we've had the top 7-on-7 team in Central Florida for the last 8, 9 years. All the elite players go there. Out of all them players, if in 8 years, that's like 25 players a team, that's 200 kids. Out of 200 kids, we might have 9 that made the league, 2 that's really making an impact. So, it's not about that. But I get more pride when those guys get educations because I know once they get education, at least they can get a job. And coaches should, because guess what? Don't none of these kids, because we all been there, bruh. Now, hold on. You was a hell of a football player. I was a hell of a basketball player. Couldn't nobody tell me I wasn't making the NBA. Could anybody tell you wasn't making the NFL?
Absolutely not.
So, but I have a degree. I have a master's because of playing basketball. You know, so that's what people like. Even if you don't have this, is what people understand. Let's say you don't have a degree, but you play 4 years of school. Guess what? You ain't need but like 24 hours to graduate. That's still free school. So, people don't understand the importance, and coaches don't understand that dynamic because most of these coaches have degrees, but they didn't play football when they had to go get that degree.
Oh, they
Like,
don't understand what that life is.
that's a different life. When you're an athlete, that's a different life. You know, I've lived that life where you on scholarship, you can't work, you can't do whatever. You got to be at practice this time. You got to take your classes around this schedule because you can't, because you have to be, available at this time because of your scholarship. So, so I just think that I wish coaches would be more honest with parents too. Like before when you have a kid, like if I was but that's why I say I'm finna get into coaching again. I was trying to wait till Assad left, but I'm gonna do it next year because I would take the time to sit down with every parent and let them know this is where I see your kid. I really would. Like coaches say they don't have time. I get it. Well, then assign a coach that he speaks for you on your behalf, so
Well, I
that we
mean,
can address
honestly,
every parent. Like, hey, because every parent needs to know where you see your kid. Like,
I mean,
so that way there's no confusion. Because if I see my kid as a Power 5 guy, and you as a coach see my kid as a D2 guy, then we're gonna have conflict. Because if you're giving him D2 guy reps versus Power 5 guy reps, because Power 5 guys get reps. No one uses a Power 5 guy as a decoy, and he don't no
it's high
one.
school football.
Yeah, yeah. No one says a Power 5 guy, oh, hey man, you get him the ball. You have plays designed for him if he's Power 5, if he's on offense. So if you say, hey, this how I see your son, then guess what? Because I tell parents this all the time. I'd rather a coach do that to me so that I can honestly make a decision as do I want my son to play for you. Because if you give me the truth and then I bring him there anyway, then it's no issue. But if you feed me bull crap and then I bring him, it's gonna be beef in the city. And those are the things that coaches bring up a lot of beef. You should do that, man. When I met my wife, hey, let's keep it. I told you it's gonna be real talk. I don't know if everybody gonna be ready for this. When I met my wife, I told her straight up, if you don't give me none, I'm gonna go get some elsewhere. Straight up. So she know that she got to put out. And if she don't want to, that's cool. But I've already told you this how I'm gonna get down. So it's no confusion.
Reality is the truth. It's the
Right,
realities of life.
right,
Like
right, right.
true,
So it's
that's what people
better.
rather live by is reality.
Hey,
Don't nobody want to live in no fantasy land. And then
that
when they
part.
realize you gave them fantasy, man, that's when people get angry. That's when all the craziness goes on
Right,
because they realize that the fact that the reality that you I thought you was giving me is actually fantasy, and that
correct,
the reality of the situation is way far worse than what was told to me. So now I'm upset. You know,
correct. And you have nobody to blame but yourself as a coach. Like as a coach, all you got to do is keep it a buck. Like I tell for any of you young boys on here, you ain't never got a lot of no woman. Keep it a buck with her. Hey, tell her, hey, I'm sleeping around. I'm sleeping with it. If she want to do it, she gonna do it with you anyway. Period. So like you ain't got to do all that lying. So tell people the truth and let them make a decision. Let them make a decision because all you're going to be miserable. They're going to be miserable. The kid's going to be miserable. It's going to be a messed up situation versus just everybody. Look what Vic say. Okay, devil's advocate, but you have the parents who still will not listen. The ones that don't listen need to get an outside independent evaluation of kids level. I agree. I mean, I had a thing. I had a thing on my top recruits website called honest evaluations, where I literally had if your son played a
what's
position.
up, Manny?
I literally, what's up, my dude, Manny? Hey, I saw my boy get that pickup on the fumble recovery. By the way, tell him next time he got to score. That's the difference in the game. Tell him we taught him better than that. Tell him he know better. Tell him we got to get his swag on. But I was proud of him, man. But but man, parents, I agree with what Vic says. You should be
No, you
getting
right,
an
Vic.
honest
Absolutely.
evaluation of your kid. Like you need to take the time to like. I literally had a thing on the website, and parents didn't want to hear it. Like you said, bruh, I was charging $40, and I was giving that to the coaches. I had, because well, let's face it like this. You got black college coaches that they were coaches at major programs. They lose their job, they can't get a new job. You know, like they don't get recycled. So I had guys like that they might have coached at South Carolina, uh, Missouri, you Division One programs.
I know who you
So
talking about too. I
so
know the coaches.
so
Yeah.
yeah. So why wouldn't you want to get evaluated if you saying, "Hey, my son's a running back." And he about to get evaluated by a guy who. Why would? But parents don't want to hear that. And for $40, man, please, I would easily let someone evaluate my kids. So therefore, I can have a realistic expectation of what schools I should be trying to get my kid in. So if you
Yeah.
if your kid is not a Power Five kid, then why the hell are you going to Georgia's camp?
No,
Like take him to a smaller camp where he gets an opportunity.
and I've also explained, and I've had you as my mentor, through this recruiting stuff, and you've taught me and showed me, and just my own advice of me just being straight up with even my own clients. Like, if you don't come back and give me the money next month, so be it. That's not my
Right,
problem. Like, you wanted me to honestly tell you where your son is at and where you think he's going to end up. I had to give you the truth. I had to tell you, like, hey, listen, man, you need to start at you take your behind to Valdosta State and take your behind to that camp,
right,
and try to see if you can get evaluated there. Because he's not even ECU or Charlotte 49er level yet. You like,
correct.
they're not gonna you that's a waste of time. But a lot of people
Correct.
want to go to Georgia, they want to go to Mississippi State, they want to go to Missouri, they want to go to Florida. Oh, I take my son to
And
Florida every year. Like, bruh, Florida is not.
Well, what I will say this: if your kid wants to go to Florida and that's his dream school, you should take little Timmy there at least once. Every kid should be able to go to it. But because one thing I do know is that guys in Florida, they know guys at other schools. So you may not be able to play in Florida, but they'll say, "Hey man, I'm at Incarnate Word. Hey man, look at this kid. He could play there." You know, so you still, but you can't go to Florida expecting to get a Florida scholarship, and then pissed off when you don't get it and say that Florida's hating on your kid. It don't work like that. If those coaches think that your kid can help them play, guess what? They're going to offer him, and if they really really like him, they're going to recruit him. There's a difference. Just because a kid is getting offered doesn't mean that he's getting recruited by that school. There's a big difference.
And I said this yesterday to a client. Like, basically, I was saying, like, recruiting is like buying a car. Like, you show up to the car dealership. and you see this car, it didn't exactly have all the measurables or the tools that you want, but you're like, hey, you know what? I have the money. You know, I want to get this car. You're like, I want to buy it, but you don't buy it that day. You tell them, hey, listen, I'm gonna get back to you. I'm gonna come
Correct.
back and get the car. And then you end up stopping by another dealership, and they had the measurables a little bit more measurables, not all the measurables, but a little bit more measurables in than you wanted than the last one. And you're like, dang, I like that one, but I'm gonna get this one. And it's constantly like that in the college world. With these coaches, they'll see you son today, and then they see another kid next week, and they're like, oh man, you know what? We like that kid, but we're gonna go this one. That's why these schools is so hard with the bigger ones. They have so many people coming in trying to get those offers. So it's a numbers. I mean, it's a numbers game as far as
Oh
where do
yeah.
you fall in the genetics, the height, the size, the performance. Like you gotta
It's
you gotta
the
measure
club.
up.
Like I'm gonna keep it to them real raw. It's the club measure. See, like I guess y'all don't have clubs like we did, but it's the club measure. Mike
Why are you
Slider.
trying to get a
Uh,
little rated G?
no, no, no. We don't get. Hey man, look, they throwing out. Hey man, they got 25 scholarships. They offering 200. And, because and they the ones who choosing, so they gonna figure out who they want. They the ones. Hey, they gonna let and as some guys go move on, you move up and down boards. But a big shout out to uh like the biggest thing I don't want people to get because Phil, I love Phil, but sometimes he gets on this recruiting is smoking mirrors. No, it's not recruiting is what it is. I mean, recruiting is, they're going to treat you like like you in the club. They shooting a shot and they gonna tell you they like you or whatever. But in the end, they gonna choose who they really like.
Yeah,
In the
no,
end, in the end, they gonna choose who they really like. You
they
know,
figured out
and
who gonna
and
go on that state dinner.
yeah, and right now, what's really hurting recruiting, and because dudes brought it up, the transfer portal, and like Mike Slider said, 2021 was rough. But if you think 21 was rough, 22 gonna be rougher because that transfer portal is what really then set off the game. Instead of school having 25 guys, now guess what? They they going for guys who was at Alabama, and they gonna get them to come to FIU. They would much rather do that than get your kid from high school. So that's what's going on now. So that's gonna be rough. So like guys. By the way, nowadays if your kid's a junior, you might want to lock that in. And the final thing, because I got someone that sent me some, because we're gonna go over some questions real quick. Uh, Someone sent me something about they text me. They're talking about should they go to like these all-star camps that they get invited to, like these all-star combines and stuff like that. I'd say this: are you paying? If you're paying to be an all-American, why are you going? Seriously, you're paying to be an all-American. Why are you going? That's like that just doesn't make sense. You know, if you're like we have if you're in an all-star game, it should be predominantly free. Seriously.
If it's a true evaluation, yeah.
If it's an all-star game, that's what it is. Parents are are paying to go to these camps that are charging you 350. They give you an invite, but they're charging you 350, 400, $400 for you to go. And then you flying out, buying a hotel, you doing all that other stuff, and you don't necessarily need that. But but parents don't get it because they want to feel good and say, "Oh, my kid was invited to this thing, or my kid was invited to that." That money you spent, you could have put that on some training for your kid. Because especially when they're like freshmen and sophomores, why are you going? Like, because guess what? You can go to all those camps and combines you want. At the end of the day, they're gonna if they want to make you All American. I used to work for that stuff. I'd have kids. Tyler went to the U.S. Army All American Bowl 3 times. The difference was it was free because I worked there. But the thing was, he was 8A Player of the Year. And they didn't offer him to the game because he didn't have enough stars.
Even the Nike MVP, he went down and won
Right,
MVP in Miami,
right,
beat all the
right.
top guys in Miami, won the MVP, and still didn't get invited to the Nike Showcase.
That part. So so you know, parents just be smart about it. Everything ain't built today. It is truly a real race. If you're into it just for the clout for your kid, then that's how it's going. Hey, you need to find the best place for your kid. It because the worst thing you can do is send him to a school, Bama, Georgia, and he never plays. Bama, Georgia, Florida, Florida State, he never gets on the field. Because guess what? Either he's going to end up transferring, or it's just he's not going to have a good college experience. So,
And to that, people say, well, they always transfer. Why go through all that? Why not just get it right the first time?
that part.
Like the transfer portal is just in case, unfortunate events happen, and that's what you truly need to use it for, not because, oh, I don't like this situation. You should have figured that out, that you didn't like that when you was getting recruited. You had a whole year pretty much to figure that situation out.
Yeah, Coach Rod Rutherford asked, "Do we have anything on paper with Power Five, D2, D3 at student athletes height, weight, 40s at every position?" Rod, actually, I do, but I can't share it because it has the school's logos on it. So I don't share. But every school is different because what Florida looks at, Clemson might not look at. So everyone has their different standards of what they want. Prime example is a kid. T knows him. It was a kid named Nick Wason. He went to Florida State. He was the number one corner in the country. You can Google if you want. He was the number one corner for the 2011 class. He was the number five player in the country. Went to Lake Mineola, and he went 2-8. So once again, that's my point to parents about he was 2-8. Now it wasn't like he was killing it, but he went to Florida State. Started as a freshman and sophomore. His junior year, they brought in Coach Jeremy Pruitt. Anybody knows Coach Pruitt knows he like his corners to be 6'2". Guess what? He got benched. Never played again.
Jalen
And
Ramsey and them
yeah,
boys.
yeah, never played again. So he started 2 years from Florida State and did well. So, but yeah, Coach Rod, I would love to get out to parents, but I could probably make up something, uh, but generally speaking, I would tell you, because what I saw, they had the school's logo, they had the height, they had okay, if he's 6 foot, he got to run a 4.44. If he's 6'2", he can run a 4.5. That kind of thing. So, you know, uh, so. And I don't think a kid needs to visit FCS school. If he's not a Jalen Carter don't need to visit not one damn FCS school. He was never going to go FCS. Tyler Davis wasn't going to go FCS. Like that's where once again parents you need to be realistic about your kid's ability. Like
Yeah.
like like
Get an
like
evaluation.
right. Because uh, if those guys got Georgia, like even when they leave the transfer portal, they're still not going FCS. The kid from Georgia is not like they're going to Jackson State because of the Dion factor. So don't get that twisted. But if Dion leaves, those kids aren't going to Jackson State. Dion has a presence, and so kids will go play for him. But there's other matter of fact, Dion ain't even winning the SWAC. But guess what? He got a presence. So kids, he's getting kids that have Power Five offers and Power Five schools that are going there. But right now, Prairie View A&M is busting it up in the SWAC. Who you rooting for? PVU. Well, y'all don't know about that's Texas style, baby. But anyway, still better than all the FAMUs and BCUs. They're in the SWAC now. They get to see that SWAC element. But anyway, uh, parents, it's okay to take your kids to camp. The one thing I will say about when the one good thing about going to those national combines, like the U.S. Army Combine, there will be rivals 247s. All those guys will be there. So, but it's if you've ever been, it's 1,000 kids. You know, so they're making their money. So how are they really going to evaluate your kid? Which brings us to what we do with the Elite 100. Uh, you know, to really get evaluated, no one can get evaluated if it's 1,000 kids on a football field. That's at a football camp. That's at a combine. That's at all that stuff. If you guys want to help us out, you can go to donations at elite100prospects.com and make a donation, a sponsorship, any of those kind of things. Check us out. Uh, we actually are having a combine, not a combine. We're having an all-star game, and we've invited 25 to 30 schools that have committed to come to the game because it's going to be a lot of good football players that are going to have to go D2 because of the transfer portal, because of all the stuff that's going on with COVID and all that other stuff. What kids don't understand is I'd rather you go D2 for free than to not go to school at all. I really would. There's nothing wrong with D2 or D3. Is that like right now, the one beautiful thing about the NFL is if you can play, they're gonna find you. If you can play, they're gonna find you. So you know what? Like it's kids out there that went D2 and now they're transferring to Florida State, Miami, other schools. So if you can play, they can find you. I don't know what it is about kids wanting to go D1 or Power Five. Because my ultimate goal would be to get to the NFL. That would be
I
my
mean,
goal.
that is the goal. I
Right,
mean,
right.
that's
That
the
should
goal
be
I
your
have.
goal. Right. That should
Yeah,
be
the
your
clients
goal.
that I work
So
with. Yes.
so the key should be you need to make sure that you are ready for that. So, that's something that, hopefully everybody can do. Hold on. I think I covered most of the questions and we probably covered a lot of them. Let me give a couple of more shout outs. Let me see where my boy, uh, I tried to cover like the topics were, most of these topics were stuff that people asked. And yeah, we did cover that. We did cover that. So yeah, I think we covered it. Is there anything else you want to cover, man?
Um, just parents and everybody understanding, what it takes. Football is a year-round sport. A lot of parents, you ask about scholarships, but the beautiful thing, I don't know what people's faith is, but I believe in God, and God does not reward those who don't work hard. Like that's just part of his
You can't.
like the genetics of
You
the
can't.
universe that he created. Like you
Yeah.
have to work hard in order for you to reap any benefits of what you're doing. And
You look-
if your son is not putting in the time and the effort in the off season, those scholarships are going to be far few in between for real. There's kids that put in a lot of work and still don't get nothing, and then you got kids who don't do nothing, and then they're naturally gifted and they go out there and play, and parents are expecting something to happen, but you ain't putting in the time and effort to really showcase what that kid can do, or even the skill sets that they could have developed to come better. Because some film, if the coach watched a sophomore film and a junior film that look the same, they might not offer your son. They're like, man, this kid don't get better. Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring him to my school. He can't even develop.
Yeah.
You know, they like you got kids have decommitted from schools because schools are asking them about film senior year. Hey, we got you on scholarship, but hey, can we see some more film? And they can't
And
get the film, or you can't, or they don't like the film. The relationship is stagnant now. Like it's
you got
never
to keep
ending.
working. You got to keep working. And one thing that I'm an advocate for all young men, but I definitely am an advocate for black men, uh, because it's harder for them. Period. It's harder for them, and I know because I am a black man. I have a black son. It's harder for them. So what they have to always remember is if nobody else got to keep, they always got to be grinding always, like at all times, because like you said earlier, you know they almost are looking for reasons not to bring you to their school. They really are. So you need to make sure that you are in a situation where you're putting it down every day. You're stretching, you're doing all the stuff. Like I tell my son, what are you doing to get better? What are you doing to get better? It's just that simple. What are you doing every day? You ought to be doing something. If you have an off day, it could be stretching. It could be making sure you're eating right. But what did you do today to get better? And that's not something that they need just for football. They need that for life.
For life,
Did you
this
read?
is something
Did you
continuous.
read? Did you read? A Bible verse today? Did you pray? Did you do all the things that you need to do? Because like I tell mine, before you go on that football field, you pray every single time and ask God to keep you from injury. And I believe that that's why sometimes he hasn't been injured. You know, and like you said, at the end of the day, you got to believe in God, parents. Uh, you know, you know, if because you can't see everything. Maybe your son has to go to this school. Maybe you wanted your son to go to this school, but he has to go to this other school. But you didn't know that if he went to this school, he was never going to play. Just like who's the best example of a kid to me making a tremendous decision is Brandon. Brandon went to Wakava,
Oh,
and
Brandon
when
Hill. Oh yeah, yeah,
when B Hill started blowing up, he could have left Pitt because schools kept coming, and he chose Pitt, and he went to Pitt, and now he's a semifinalist for the Jim Thorpe. He's like he red shirted, he red shirted, and all they ever told me was, "Hey, he gonna be good," even when he was red shirting.
yeah. There's nothing wrong
And
with development. That's
there's nothing wrong
that's
with
the
development,
biggest
man.
problem, and also that's another. See, now we're getting into things. I do want to drop this, not to change the subject off of B Hill, but like Jordan Phillips, for instance, it's 9 o'clock. He come by your house picking up weights, man.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
how do you
Oh,
think the kid got a Tennessee offer? That
oh,
type of stuff right there.
oh no,
It's the
just
type
simple
of
stuff.
stuff that
Like simple stuff. We, on the bus trip, uh, you know,
he was
you know,
working
I
out.
mean,
He
yeah,
was working.
he working out. He working out. You know, I mean, I mean, coach is like, hey, you gonna bring him by the school? I'm like, yeah, coach. Yeah, I will after you work out. He like, he working out. Yeah, he working out, coach.
On the
He like,
treadmill, getting at least a
right,
2 miles
right,
in.
right. So,
Yeah, he wasn't
so
even playing.
right. So those are things that he's serious about his craft. So Tyler Davis, when he comes home, he's working out. You know,
Oh, he calls
th-
me. We
right?
work at least four times a week. Most kids they come home from college, they're trying to get out to downtown
Oh
Orlando,
no,
and
no, no, no.
they trying to go club. And Tyler's calling me like, "Hey, coach, man, we gotta get this on schedule. We gotta get on the
First thing in the
schedule.
morning.
We gotta work." And he's getting at least 2 hours a day. Each time
Oh
we grind.
man, like the best thing that ever happened is Tyler's. I don't have to say nothing to Assad. Tyler gonna come pick him up, and they gonna because Tyler goes and work out before he works out with you.
Yeah,
So so like Tyler B Hill, Do the Man, they gonna come get
B Hill
Assad.
comes home and grind.
They
Yep,
they gonna get Assad, and so Assad knows how to grind. That's why when we went to those camps, he showed out because he knows how to grind. Because like the best thing you could do is have your kids around these college athletes. Find out who's training these guys. Find out like who the real dogs. Who are they going to? You know, like you can go to where the high school dogs are, but me personally, I want to go to where the college dogs are.
and
If your kid's going to college,
that's a testament to what I'm saying as well. Is you know um you got to do this stuff outside of high school program like this. The high school program, and nothing against some coaches ain't even certified in weightlifting, but they teaching your kid how to lift weights. And it's fine that they do the team workouts. That's for the team, you know what I'm saying? But for personal development, like, you
hold on
need
one
to be
second, real
sending.
quick. I'm gonna
Yeah.
let you. Hey guys, we gonna do a last call for any questions. So y'all got 2 minutes to put in calls. If we don't get it, we gonna get up off it, out of here. But go ahead, man.
You be sending your son to the Mike Lockleys, sending your son to the Ben Dela Cruzes, to the Nate Kellers, as far as the weightlifting, sending them to the AJ Brooks, send them to the speed and agility coaches around the area. Get them with Florida Elite Track Club, running track in the off season. Like Christian Leary, I could say that Christian Leary really dove into Florida Elite Track with Ellis, and he came back the fastest man in the area. Like, couldn't nobody
Man,
catch him.
dudes be slipping on Ellis. Ellis is, and like when people don't understand. And shout out to Bo Jack, shout out to Low Wood.
Yeah, Bojack.
Like
Yeah,
those boys do their thing, but guess who they learn from? Ellis. So if that's who they like. Bo knows a lot, and Bo does a good job. But but there's other guys that like. Make sure you have a reputable trainer. It's a trainer out here. I won't even say no names, but
don't
this
do him
dude,
like
I won't do no name.
that.
But it's quite a few of them. Parents out here send their kids to guys who are claiming to be these trainers, and they, bruh, they don't train like that. Like they wasn't that kind of a dog. And like I said, I never say because people, I've heard people try to throw shade at Lowe and say, well, he wasn't a good football player, but Lowe does a great job of training. No one, but he does a great job. You know why? He was trained by who? Who taught Lowe how to train people? An NFL player. So when you have that, and like that's why I tell people, you don't have to have been through it, but someone who's been through it has had to train you. You know what I'm saying? Because I tell the people all the time, when my son was going to Excel speed and training, man, he didn't give a damn. If he saw Low, he knew he was gonna get a good workout. But when he saw Aaron Jones Sr., I mean, you would see them dudes do shit. Damn! Oh no! Because they knew they was gonna get that work. But every last one of them boys, Spence, them boys got better. You know, because like the best question you can ask, if your kid is can't wait unless he's Tyler don't count because he likes to grind. But if your kid can't wait to go work out with a dude, that means he's not grinding enough. You know, Tyler, Jordan Phillips, you can't count those guys. They own something else. They believe in working out on a different level. You
They
know,
love it. It's
right,
it's just it's their drug. I
right.
guess you could pass it. It's like
Eh,
it gets it. They love it.
Oh yeah,
But
like you say, dude came over here at like 9:30 at night trying to try to get some damn weights. You know what high school kid does that? You know he has a no
in
no
season,
no hold on 1 second. He has
in
a game
season.
tomorrow. No, he has a game tomorrow. Think about it. Hey, not just a game. They play a pop cup. If it's a playoff game. If they lose, they may not get in. But he's still grinding. So just shout out, man. Also, too, I left out, man. Uh, there's a lot of other good coaches out there. I don't want to leave those guys out. Uh, you got uh, quite a few coaches in the area. So I'm not saying the guys we named though.
Oh yeah,
Those are guys.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Like
those are just guys like that have been doing it historically. And I'm gonna tell you who else has done a good job with the talent is Coach Shep. He's done a tremendous job over there with the talent he's had. Right now, West Orange is doing a great job with Granado. And so there's other guys out there. If we miss you, we weren't trying to miss you. It wasn't like that. But
yeah,
please
just
go to
candid
the
conversation, y'all. Just candid
yeah,
conversation.
that's it. Just real talk. Because Central Florida, some sensitive dudes in Central Florida. We know that already, especially on the coaching ranks. I told you I was gonna keep it a buck, but go to elite100prospects.com to check out the teams we have. Uh, Coach Rod Rutherford, who was on here, kind enough to leave a message. He's coaching the West, which is comprised of kids from Lake County, Orange County, and Osceola County. Uh, the East is coached by Tion Green. Coach Tion got uh, Volusia, Seminole, and Brevard. So please go on, check them out. We're gonna probably start having everything ready for tickets. We're gonna cap it at probably about two K. Like I say, we bringing coaches in to evaluate these kids. We're gonna have a recruiting session for the kids who aren't in the game. So we're gonna limit that to like 200 kids to give you guys an opportunity to be evaluated by these coaches live. Uh, you know, like coaches are going to be running, we're going to have them out there while the drills are running. They're going to be able to watch you and see what you do. So, so there's no excuses. I mean, a lot of kids ain't going to want to come because y'all think y'all Power 5, D1. But hey, I'm telling you, it's about going to school for D free. Like, and y'all might want to recognize that. So if you have
Opportunity,
any questions,
opportunity.
opportunities, I have any questions, go to elite100prospects.com. Check out the website. Any questions, you can go on the website and ask questions. We appreciate you. Anything else you want to tell the folks, man?
Nah, man, just appreciate y'all listening, man, and look forward to look forward to y'all the relationship that we built with y'all with Elite 100 and the chop up.
All right, y'all be good. Peace.
All right, peace.